We are living in a very unique time because a lot of turbulence happening everywhere. And I think the model when it was the one country can control the world or two countries can divide the world is over. We have a multi-centric world. And the situation what we are facing is all with problems coming interconnected, with all the world activities becoming interconnected. Basically, today we are living in a world where there's 200 or more countries, from which at least 150 countries facing some big challenges of economic development, social stability, and many other elements, which means we can say it's not our problem, it's the problem of these countries, what we will do. But if we are looking what's going with the migration crisis, the refugee crisis, with the terrorism, with all this negative attitude happening, it's showing we cannot build the walls, doesn't matter how big your walls will be, to avoid these issues in your own country. Because I think one of the trends with people now realizing is becoming very critical point to look at this problem holistic and worldwide. Second, the existing institutions, including the international big institutions, was built after Second World War under big crisis. And the charity institutions were doing a lot of good things, also under big question. And the investors in facing big challenges to do something in the countries like most of the countries in Africa or Asia. And you can see from numbers, UN approved the Sustainable Development Program, which requests $4 trillion a year investment to these countries. And can you imagine, it's not only a problem to raise this money, because today the gap is $2.4 trillion, but you need to also deploy this money in the countries where there is no infrastructure, no execution capacity, skills, and no counterpartners with whom you can work. That's why you got worldwide problems becoming very irrelevant to each other. You're getting serious amount of money needs to be raised and deployed in a place with no infrastructure can provide. The existing institutions facing serious challenges because they lost their credibility or they're facing some serious challenges about how they're doing about their efficiency. And at the same time, we're getting instinct positive trend. I don't want to go negative only. The more and more wealthy people thinking about not just what we are paying taxes and it's not our problem, what's happening in the world, but they're becoming more and more involved in social development, so social impact investment, social entrepreneurship, social responsibility, becoming not only issue for the corporations like Unilever or other big corporation thinking, but also for very high net worth individuals. That's why we see also the wealthy business, wealthy families looking very, very intensively as opportunity to change the world around in a better place, not just providing classical traditional charity, but also doing some investment in different way, different approach. So I will say we are in a fragile world with a lot of challenges. At the same time, we're getting some interesting new players in the market which didn't exist before. It's continued a lot of debates going around this issue of what is the major driver of people doing this. First of all, it's I think it's a normal type of the behavior. You want to save your future of yourself and your families, because people realize just relying from somebody else will do this is very dangerous. And the second, I think the technology disruption which happened in many places, many industries, it's creating a new way of people saying if we have a technology disruption, it will be social disruption also. Because this issue of the young people who becoming very wealthy, and they don't want to give money just in endowments. They want to be actively engaged in the process of transformation. It's becoming general trend. The third, because of the countries like Russia or China or Vietnam, it's a new generation of elite becoming rich, and they're thinking what the purpose of the life, what will be their decision about their wealth. It's becoming interesting. Not only old established families in Europe or US looking or in some of the few countries in the world looking what they can do, but also some new players coming and they're entering in the, like Jeff Skoll or Mark Zuckerberg or some people from China like Ma, the founder of Alibaba. We can see the people who really want to do something because they either are successful in technological changes, they want to do social change also. So I'll say the private people looking as like opportunity to be engaged in something which is becoming very important from point of safeness. Also because they're becoming future of their own family, but also because they feel that they have energy and capacity to do something which nobody else can do it. The biggest trend is social impact. Everybody talking about how to make its investments, which needs to be not only commercial sustainable, but socially impactful. and how you measure this investment, how you be doing this investment. And I think the biggest trend is to define a model which will be dual measurement system, which can prove that both elements is working well, which is a challenge because nobody yet found the exact model which is proved by everybody. But at the same time, it's definitely the area of people's huge interest, and especially with wealth transformation, which will happen during the next 15-20 years, we will get $30 trillion by Accenture research. Wealth will be transferred to the next generation. We're getting absolutely significant opportunity for the new generation will become owner of this wealth to do something differently. Of course, we can see from Bill Gates Foundation we're doing global modeling, but also we can see some of the models what we are doing, what we're trying to do. For example, is a model for a small country which can be replicable for many other countries. That's why our approach, what we're trying to do in Armenia, we're trying to implement a model which we can be replicable and not copy, because it cannot be just copy paste, because it needs to be always adjusted by reality of each country. But Armenia is a country which by size more or less equal and 37 other countries in the world, plus by economic development is like in a league with 104 countries. That's why half of the world is in a situation where Armenia more or less inside. That's why we're getting the absolutely unique opportunity to make the model which can be replicable and used for other countries also, we hope. That's why I can see the two approaches. One is a global trend with people like, I said already, Bill Gates trying to solve the malaria problem, other big issues, or like us trying to make the model which can be replicable for other countries also. But some people doing local projects also. I think it's one of the critical elements to the world which becoming like very interconnected, to hear each other and sometimes have a different opinion, different views, to understand what the difference is, what the key makes are same. That's why I'm hoping the Dialogue of Civilization will become really good platform for people from different parts of the world with different views come together and talk to each other. I believe it will be important for all of us to make everything is possible that people will continue to talk to each other, because isolation and building the walls, building the nationalism is not have a future. The only way we can live and keep the world in life, and we will talk to each other and we'll do something together. Because I'm the very big fan of the local people, but the people who has a global connections and global view about the world, but have a local identity. I don't think people become cosmopolitan. I don't want people to become local. People need to be a global vision with the local identity of who we are. As I will say, it's a very critical element for this to have a type of plan like Dialogue Civilization. I hope it will become one of the main think tank institutions in Europe and the world about this topic, especially with all the suspicion perception we are living. The changes perception suspicions is very important to provide something which will be valuable and important for all of us. And I hope, despite all the issues that we are facing today, it will be successful journey. Europe is facing serious challenges themselves, because on one hand it's a great example of the unification and creating a European Union. On the other hand, we can see also how many problems we're facing. For example, one of my friends said, if European Union is really European Union, the World Cup football team needs to be one European football team, not each countries. This is what will never happen. I'm sorry. Maybe it's good for football players and football watchers, but from point of European Union, it's definitely one of the things which we need to consider, which is not easy to do it. This is why Europe, I think, is a great example of something which is happening in a world where connections becoming much closer, but at the same time, the many problems not solved inside of the Union or outside the Union. And we can see with Brexit and all the issues we're facing with Europe is becoming the key examples which people are looking very carefully worldwide. The other issue, of course, Europe is one of the most developed areas in the world, and what will happen in this area will be critical for other part of the world. And European companies, European institutions, European governments engagement and involvement in the development of the other part of the world is very critical. This is why discussion and dialogues with countries like Russia, or dialogue with countries like small countries like Armenia or Georgia or Moldova is becoming very important, and it's not easy because there's so many stakeholders, so many problems, so many issues Europe is facing. But there's no other options. Europe is one of the key drivers of the changes for the future. And I hope, despite all the problems, Europe can continue leading region for the transformation of the world in a better side. With my American founders, they established the investment bank named Troika Dialog. And Troika Dialog in Russian, it means free and dialogue. And people say, why is it free and dialogue? So because always you need to find people between who wants to invest, people who want to get the money, somebody will help to get a dialogue. That's why for me, dialogue is always ready to listen to other person. Because the monologue, when some people can talk to each other, but each of us will talk about our own points and will not listen to what this other person is saying. That's why dialogue means readiness to listen, to hear other person.